Join me as I dive deeper into the truth you should know about credit card debts. Now, let's uncover the truth together and sit down so that the truth might actually shock you. Grab a popcorn and have fun watching this video till the end. When it comes to credit cards, we have all been there, swiping left, swiping right, and hoping that the best could unfold for us. But how often do you really take time to read the finer print on that credit card terms and conditions? The truth is, most people I've spoken to, myself included, that's exactly what some financial institutions that offer this want you to do. Now, let's talk about the misconceptions first. One of the biggest misconceptions about credit cards is that they are all created equal. Of course, there are different types of credit cards, some with higher interest rates and some with lower interest rates. But at the end of the day, when I look at the average, some credit cards come with astronomical interest rates that can leave you drowning in debt, while others, fees may be hidden and you need magnifying glasses to actually know about some of these things. Now, don't even get me started about the reward programs. You really need to be careful when it comes to credit cards. The scary part is that most of us have no idea about what's really going on in terms of these reward cards. For example, there are some people who know how to use them. For example, if you only stick to things that you really need rather than just buying because you want to get this reward, because in the end, you end up spending more and hence possibly drowning in debt. Now, let's talk about interest rates and introductory offers. There are some credit cards that may say, okay, for the next 6 months, you have zero interest rates. Guess what happens after those 6 months, right? The interest rate might be even higher. Now, take interest rates, for example. Did you know that in the US, average credit card debt stands at an average of like 24.43% according to the data from Lending Tree that I saw recently. In Canada, it's not far behind, but on average, you are looking at almost 22% average. Now, invert this the other way around to say, if you have an investment that gives you, let's say, 20% return, usually that's what Warren Buffett has been returning on average over the past couple of years. What that means is your money, you can double your money in just, let's say, over 4 years, right? You had 10,000, after 4 years, it doubles to 40,000 to 20,000. And then after 4 years, it doubles to 40,000. After another 4 years, it doubles to 80,000. Now that's an exponential growth function. But the thing is, if you are investing and you are getting that return, that could be the real cost of that credit card. But in this case, you would be paying that money, right? Of course, in that case, it seems like it's just, those little fees that are just getting off, right? But if you don't pay off that outstanding balance on that credit card, that's what you can end up paying and actually losing. In some cases, there are actually some hidden fees that comes if you don't pay all the outstanding balances or don't meet all the complicated and some other conditions. So sometimes it's the psychology behind, the idea that you have credit card. And I'm not saying credit cards are necessarily bad if you don't know how to use them. Well, for me, what I've realized is that it is very, very important to make sure that you only buy anything with a credit card for the money that you can immediately pay. Or if you can pay before that cycle, before they would start to charge interest rate. Once you can do that, that can possibly be a good thing to even build your credit, right? But also be able to, let's say, you are going to be paid in 2 weeks' time, and then you can use your credit card and then pay to just meet that demand that you may have for that. But the challenge is that a lot of people now, they may not pay off that outstanding debt. And that's where the real issue comes in of paying that amount. Now, on average in the US, you are looking at 6,365 according to Lending Tree in terms of credit card debt. So what that means is every year, if that person is that outstanding balance, they are getting, let's say, 24% charged, right? So how much more will that money be in 5 years or 10 years? Now, like I said, if you invert it to say, if you have an investment of 6,365 and you are making money out of that 20%, which by the way is extremely difficult because the S&P 500, like I've said in most videos here, returns about average of 10% per year. Now, why would someone be forced to use credit card? It obviously depends on individual circumstances. But what I've seen is that there are some credit cards that may have lower interest rates, like line of credits. Maybe some people can then have their house and then have a line of credit. But that's kind of like risky because if you then fail to pay off that line of credit that is secured with the house, what that means is you might be forced to sell at the bottom if the market, let's say, drops. But the challenge is now, what I often talk to with clients I coach, of course, this is not investment advice, is that one easy way to go about to avoid a situation of being forced in a credit card debt situation is that you make sure you have an emergency fund, 6 to 12 months worth of savings for your living expenses. Now you start investing, right? So that you avoid the situation where, let's say, you have an emergency fund or you have an unexpected situation, then you are forced to then borrow because maybe you don't have income to take care of those. There may be other situations like health situations that you may not really anticipate, but they are mitigatory measures. For example, in Canada, we have universal healthcare, but there are also some insurances, right, that can possibly insure those things. So the key thing is to look into all those options to then say, look, for my credit card, I only want to swipe on something that I can be sure to pay off at the end of the day or whatever that cycle before the outstanding balance starts pushing you into a situation where you're accruing some debt. Now, at the end of the day, I've realized that also it's a psychological thing to say it's very easy to swipe. Some people prefer to have money that they withdraw in cash so that they just make sure that they withdraw or then take that cash to buy things on cash. But again, I've traveled. What I've seen is that sometimes if you want to buy flight tickets or you are going in a hotel, they want that deposit. Credit cards, they can be a very useful tool in the sense that it makes your life easy if you know how to use them wisely. I know I grew up in Zimbabwe, we didn't have access to credit cards. It was mostly cash on cash basis, but debt can be a very good tool if you know how to use it. But a lot of people, like the statistics show, with a lot of people reeling in debt in the US, in Canada, and other advanced countries where they have access to these credit cards. I know in some emerging countries like Zimbabwe, some people, they go and get loans from loan shark. And the issue is like, it gets you into a situation where you're drowning in debt, but there has to be a way around it. And those circumstances differ. That's why I do those coaching sessions with people to kind of like understand the situations and share some insights of how to possibly make money, in the stock market, content creation, and other ways, so that at least you can get to a situation where you can get out of that date. I have great respect for Dave Ramsey. I've learned so much from his podcast because he advocates that at least just have an emergency fund for, let's say, $1,000, a starter emergency fund, pay off your debt, right? Starting with the highest interest rate or whichever approach that you want, that makes you feel happy and successful in paying it off. But at the end of the day, financial management, learning to live below your means, and also finding ways to get extra income streams that can generate income are the key ways that you can actually succeed in having a debt-free life. So it's simple. The key takeaway is knowledge is power. You need to educate yourself. Read the fine prints and don't be afraid to ask questions, even whether it's from the bank or whichever credit card provider. Remember, you can still use credit card wisely and still not pay interest. That is if you pay off everything that you make on the purchase on the credit card, right? Like I've explained, at the end of the day, it's very, very important to read the finer print. Thanks for watching. I would love to hear from you, your experiences dealing with credit cards and how you deal with this situation. Have you ever had a run-in with the credit card company? Share your story. Let's keep this conversation going. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more financial tips and insights. And join my weekly, free weekly insights through www.streetwiseeconomics, where I share financial insights. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, and trade and invest wisely, and may the markets be on your side. Bye bye for now.